Welcome to the People of Portland and Beyond, episode 29. Today in studio is Roger Fitzsimmons, and you have a
Fitzsimon.
Fitzsimons. I
Yeah.
always screw up the name.
No, it's fine.
I saw you on Instagram. You have a tiny house. You run a tiny house Airbnb.
Yeah, that's right.
How did you get started doing that?
Actually, it started off, me and my partner were just going for walks in the neighborhood. And we started, so I live just off Alberta in northeast Portland.
Mm-hmm.
And we started spotting these in people's backyards. And so it just got us thinking. And we'd seen about them on like HGTV and stuff like that.
Yeah, YouTube.
And and I had a garage at the back of my house, but the main like sliding door backed into a back alley that was always overgrown. So I never really used it for my car.
Yeah.
And my garage was just full of junk. So we thought about like knocking out the garage and putting a tiny house in there. So that's kind of how it all began, was just walking around the neighborhood. And then we were down at the Alberta Street Fair, and they had a guy there that was like pitching the whole tiny house idea.
Mm-hmm.
So we had him come out, and we originally were going to literally convert the garage.
Yeah.
We thought it'd be easy, you know, the building's already there. We'll just need a lick of paint and a few plumbing modifications.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, you need to tear that down. It just wouldn't fit the regulations for having. It's one thing to have a garage that puts a car in, but to fit regulations for people to physically spend time in there, it had to be totally different structurally.
Yeah.
So he said, yeah, it's got to tear it all down and then build it from scratch. And then he gave me a rough quote, and it kind of blew my mind. It was like nowhere near what I wanted to spend.
Damn.
And I was like, okay, I guess that idea is over.
Yeah.
And Martha said, no, we'll find a way. And so a couple of months went by, and then we're in this kind of like neighborhood group.
Yeah.
Like, which is like, it's more social than anything. And so we hang out for happy hours, or if somebody needs a bag of sugar or whatever, and somebody had a spare ticket to a tiny house expo at a convention center, and so we ended up going to that, and that kind of got us going again. And anyway, at the end of it, we ended up finding out the best way to do it was to have it built off-site.
Yeah.
So we actually had it with a company called Wolf Industries, and they built it in Battle Ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then they delivered it and then put it into the back of our yard, and then plumbed it all up.
Nice. What are some like differences between a normal house, plumbing, heating, and a regular tiny house?
That's a good question. I mean, it's like if we'd have built it from scratch with that first guy, the cost, it was just like building a house, because you have to have like all of that stuff in place.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get compostable toilets or like sewage tanks, but then you got to deal with that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So really it's quite similar to a regular house. It's just more compact and confined. I mean, all of our plumbing from the kitchen to the bathroom actually plumbs up to our house, so all of our systems.
Yeah.
And it helps that our house only has one bathroom, so that it can easily connect up. We've got friends that have one, and they have like a 2.25 bathrooms in their house already, so there's only so much you can connect up. So a lot of it's just regular, for us at least, it's regular plumbing. I mean, I know you can do it different ways, because some people that have tiny houses live on the road, so you can get compostable toilets and other kind of temporary, or you can rig it up like you would do an RV, something like that,
Yeah. Do you have like the plumbing, is it an efficient system where it's to be frugal, or is it like a normal plumbing system?
It's a normal plumbing system.
Okay.
I would actually say it's almost better than our system. Without going into details, it's like, it just goes straight into our house, and the heat, it has heating and air conditioning.
Yeah.
It's this special combo unit that it's like dual functioning in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I actually filed my taxes this year. So we had it for like 6 months at the end of last year. So I was working out how much more energy and water, and it actually wasn't that much. I was quite surprised.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you have it custom built? Like, did you look at the architecture and like design it, or how did that work?
So yeah, the company we went with, they have different size units.
Yeah.
So we basically worked out it's 300 square feet, our tiny house. And we basically, that was the biggest it could be with the space that we had.
Yeah.
And then we kind of you have like the base unit, which structurally is pretty much how they do it, the company that we work for. But then we'd specify, like, we wanted windows to be a certain different way, just small things.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I mean, I did a lot of the internal furnishings, but they did all the plumbing and the kitchen and putting the bath in and stuff like that. And we have a petrified wood sink in the bathroom.
Nice.
So I bought a few things to
Yeah.
personalize it, and because I think they were doing a lot of things that would just be base value, and we wanted a few more quirky things that were a bit more Portland, and so we supplied some of the materials,
like a barn door.
Yeah, I actually made that myself. Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's cool because parts of that wood are actually from the garage that we tore down, and parts of it are from pieces of pallets and pieces of like barn wood. So there's quite a lot of history in there too, that we collected up to make that. And I made the tables, the side tables, and the table in the kitchen as well.
Nice. Would you ever go to a tiny house festival like the one in Quebec?
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. It's like, we built this thing, and you know, it's going really well.
Yeah.
When we first got it finished, we were waiting for the rental permit, so we actually got to hang out there a bit ourselves. And now we're kind of jealous that we can't hang out there more, because there's generally people staying there for the Airbnb. But yeah. I'd love to like experience just different types of environments and surviving in a tiny house.
Do you have propane heat for the house, or what kind of heat do they use?
It's a unit thing that just pumps out heat in the middle of the tiny house.
Okay. Oh yeah, right.
So I mean, because it's obviously only 300 square feet, it heats up pretty quick. So, and like if we don't have it booked in the summer, it's cheaper to go and sleep out there, and the air conditioning cools it out in a heartbeat, rather than you put on air conditioning in the whole house, and obviously that takes a lot longer. Yeah. So it's really efficient and works really well. Yeah.
I also see on Instagram you have a tiny model of the tiny house.
Yeah.
Cool. Where'd you get that done?
So what happened was, it was like coming towards Christmas, and I was looking for just some fun stocking fillers. It had the peaked roof, and it had the circle, like the window we have in the tiny house.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could make a little mascot mini version of the tiny house. I travel around the state a lot for work.
Yeah.
And then I can just kind of, like you have the gnome from Travelocity. It was just an idea of creating another fun thing to post photos on Instagram, and like putting the I call it 2.0, the little mascot, in places around Portland that people can go visit when they come to Portland, when they're staying in the Airbnb. So it kind of just steamrolled from there, and yeah, it's become quite fun now, finding some cool locations to put him in.
Yeah. Where do you think the best meatball sub in Portland is?
Oh, well, the one I posted is a place that's shut down.
Oh.
So that kind of sucks. Yeah. Bunk Sandwiches do a really good meatball sub.
Yeah.
And we were only discussing this recently. We were like, we need to do some more investigating. Do you have any recommendations?
Oh, that's a good. I don't actually. I wish I did. There's one I always pass by. It's like meatballs in the name. Something with a side of meatballs.
Oh yeah, I've been there. It's pretty good.
I would hope it was the best one. And you always have some nice blankets, pillows. A Pendleton blanket looks pretty nice.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, the whole thing, we really tried to put our identity on it and have things that are very Portland.
Yeah.
And, you know, because I mean, I stay in hotels a lot for work,
Yeah.
and they're all pretty generic looking. And we really wanted this to be warm and welcoming, and just so people that stay there for a weekend or more,
Yeah.
they're experiencing a kind of Portland vibe and a homely vibe. You know, they're feeling.
Yeah, that fire table looks really nice. I mean, I love. There's one at the Everett Healing House Center. And it has these cool reflective stones in there. What kind of rocks are in there?
Rock.
Nice.
And yeah, we got that towards the end of the year. It's not a massive space in the courtyard, so it took some research to find something that wasn't too big to take over the whole space.
Yeah.
And actually, I'd say in the last few weeks, people have started firing her up and hanging out there, which is awesome.
Definitely. So. And let me see, what else? So you didn't have to scout out any special location then, since it's close by to where you are?
Yeah, no, so basically our house is at front, and then you go up our driveway, and the tiny house is like behind our house.
Yeah.
And then we have a fence between actually in the process of some planters that we're going to put in them out of old filing cabinets. And then we'll actually then have plants growing up that'll cover about half of the window of the tiny house, because it looks like it's slightly raised up. It's on a platform.
Yeah.
So it's almost like getting on a train carriage. So that looks down onto our yard right now. And it's completely private to them, because we can't see up into the tiny house, but they can see down onto us. So once we get these planters in, before the summer kicks in, it will just give us some privacy in the backyard, and then the peace of mind that when they see those plants, even though we can't see in, it just gives them that extra peace of mind that, you know, that people can't see into them. So
yeah.
But yeah, we actually had it painted up the same colors as our house, so it looks like it's always been there. So it's blended in really nice. Yeah.
What kind of plants do you think about putting in?
You'd have to ask Martha about that. She's the one with the green fingers.
But lavender.
Just something fairly tall that'll just stay up there, and you know, all easy maintenance throughout the year.
Yeah, and guests also get complimentary Queen City coffee.
Actually, no, it's a new coffee now. We actually use Water Avenue coffee.
Okay.
Queen City was great. The only problem was, like I did choreograph this cute photo with the coffee pouring out, and the local place, which is just around the corner from the house.
Yeah.
They don't use Instagram, so we were like, okay, we need to get a coffee in there of people that we can work with, you know.
Yeah.
So I did some research, and a good friend of mine who's a barista down in he roasts his own coffee that he sources from direct from farms down in San Diego.
Yeah.
It's called Make Good Coffee. And he loved this place when he used to live in Portland. So I checked it out, tried some, and I that's another reason I like when I stay in hotels. My budget's pretty low, so they're okay hotels.
Yeah.
But even when I've stayed in nice ones, when it's like a national conference, the coffee always is pretty bad. And I just thought, you know what? People come to Portland, it'll be really nice to give them really good local coffee.
Yeah.
We have local tea as well. We put some local cold drinks in the fridge. So, you know, we just want them to have good quality stuff so they really enjoy their stay.
Definitely. Is there any like pizza places close by, or like really cool things they could do?
Oh yeah, Bella Pizza is just around the corner from us. They do really good pizza, and and actually I was quite chuffed. I took a night shot of the neighborhood, and they reposted it to advertise themselves. They liked it so much, which was nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are right around the corner from Northeast Alberta, and you've got like 50 bars and restaurants within like, I don't know, a mile radius or something. It's really good. I take it for granted because I live there, but yeah, all the guests are just like, they're pretty spoiled. We're like 15 minutes from the airport. We're 15 minutes from there. I did some research. They actually came pretty high up, higher than some of the more obvious donuts in a recent survey, which was pretty cool.
So, did anyone ever browsing Instagram and they said they want to stay at your place?
Not yet. I
Uh-huh.
mean, that was the initial reason I started up the Instagram,
Yeah.
was to try and get more guests. And
Yeah.
I hope that'll happen. That would really be a really cool achievement if someone checked in and said, "Oh, by the way, we're here because we loved your Instagram."
Yeah.
But right now, I just kind of look at the Instagram as like a guide for when people whenever they book our tiny house,
Yeah.
I lead them onto the Instagram so they can see places to go eat, things to do. So it's more of a visual guide for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love it if it started to bring in some more business too. That would be a pretty
Yeah.
cool. So we'll just take it as it comes. It's a slow process. I've only been on Instagram for as long as we've had the tiny house, about 7 or 8 months.
Yeah.
But it's got me back into photography and just kind of appreciating more what's around me that I take for granted, and
Yeah.
having fun with the mascot. And yeah, it's getting a lot of good responses. So
Nice.
it's good fun.
Could you imagine doing something like this? You said you lived back in England, in Liverpool?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. What was it like growing up over there?
I enjoyed it. I mean,
Yeah.
I lived there for like, I don't know, 32, 33 years of my life.
Yeah.
But I love it here now. I mean, I can't quite define why, but Portland has felt more home than England ever did. I don't know. I just like the vibe, and
Yeah, I'm
I
from New York.
just really like it
I
here.
feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's funny. Like, houses in England are generally smaller anyway. Things a lot smaller over there.
Oh yeah, big time.
I don't know if there's a lot of tiny houses going on over there. I know my stepmom is French, and she'd never really knew much about that. It wasn't a big thing from what she knew.
Okay.
So I don't know if tiny houses are becoming a thing back there. It's certainly a Portland thing, and they seem to be popping up. I mean, we have some guests that have come to stay. I think someone was from like South Dakota, and she said, yeah, she'd never really heard much about tiny houses. And so her, it was kind of a novelty thing to check out. But
yeah,
as more and more of these shows come on the TV, I think people are becoming more and more aware of them. And you've got tiny houses where you climb up a ladder to crawl into a little bedroom space. But we decided we wanted a full ground floor bedroom. So it's a tiny house and it's only 300 square feet. But when you walk in, it's like 10-foot high ceilings. So you don't feel, it feels quite a lot more spacious. It's almost like a TARDIS. There seems a lot more space in there than when you look out from the outside, So so yeah, people are really digging it.
So are you a Doctor Who fan?
I mean, I was brought up being English. I was brought up on Doctor Who, like Tom Baker, who do you know Tom Baker?
Yeah, I love Tom Baker.
Yeah,
my favorite Doctor.
Yeah, of course. Anyone that knows their Doctor Who knows he's the one that everyone kind of just.
You like the old Who,
the iconic one with the long stripy scarf, and so yeah, he was Doctor Who for me. I've kind of dipped in and out. When they relaunched it, I really liked Eccleston, the first guy.
Yeah,
and then I watched maybe a season and a half of who was the next one. It was the Scottish guy. But then then it's like, okay, Daleks again.
Yeah,
and they're defeated, and then they
Weeping Angels,
Cybermen. There's some cool ideas.
Yeah,
and I kind of get bored of it, and then I come back and forth. So I wouldn't say I'm like a true diehard fan, but
yeah,
I enjoy it sporadically.
Were you a Beatles fan growing up?
Oh yeah, for sure. Loved it. Nice. Yeah.
Did you hear stories about them being in Liverpool, or?
My mom actually saw the Beatles, but she lives down in a place called Essex, just outside of London.
Yeah.
And her and my dad went to see them just before they broke, before they became really famous. And none of this screaming, you could actually hear them. I mean, we have a museum down there, and we have this, it's called the Magical Mystery Tour. So do you know the movie, The Magical Mystery Tour?
Yeah. So
they have the bus made up just like that. And it takes you to where Ringo Starr was born, and some of the other people, and I'm not sure, John Lennon's place, I think, and Paul McCartney. And then it shows where they first met and used to hang out, Strawberry Fields. And so you don't really hear stories so much unless you go on that tour, but it's definitely a big part of the city to this day, and people, people love the Beatles. I mean, unfortunately, the cavern where they really took off got knocked down, but they rebuilt it brick by brick.
Yeah.
So you can go there and experience the cavern, but it's not the original version, which is kind of sad, but it still looks the same.
Their bricks though.
I think it's the same bricks, but it's not the, it's, you go there, and if you didn't know, you might, maybe I've ruined it now, but yeah, but there's a lot of history there for the Beatles and a lot of love for the Beatles. I mean, yeah, it was cool living in Liverpool.
What's your favorite album? Revolver, Rubber Soul,
probably the White Album.
Pepper, White Album.
Yeah.
That's the one where they're all kind of going on their own direction. So.
Yeah, it's quite an eclectic album. I like it for that, and I like the movie, The Yellow Submarine, too. I think that's pretty surreal and out there.
Any favorite songs? Because I like that song a lot, and that one was on the White Album. Was Because?
Yeah. I think I'm trying to think. There's so many. What's the Gently Weeps?
While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Yeah, While My Guitar
That's one of my favorite songs I cover as a guitarist, singer. It's a I love that one. Yeah.
That's a great song. I mean, and I love all the big classic hits too. But that one really resonates. That's a great song.
Nice. Have you been to any concerts around Portland?
Oh yeah, plenty. That's one of the things I love about Portland.
Yeah,
is you go to a concert, and there can be like 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. There's people of every age, and no one cares. It's all really inclusive. I don't think you get that quite as much in England. But yeah, I've I go to, not so much now, but I used to go to a lot of live music. I've been to most of the main. I think my favorite place is probably the Wonder Ballroom.
Yeah, I've been there. I saw Warpaint play at the Wonder Ballroom, I believe, and I think I saw another band play at the Crystal Ballroom, Infected Mushroom. And I saw this band Tennis at the Ballroom. I always confuse the two.
I've heard of Warpaint. I think they supported someone I saw. I can't remember who, but
nice.
Yeah, no, I love live music. I don't get to see it as much as I used to, but it's Portland's great because they've got some cool small venues. I don't like too much going to the big arena unless it's a band they really need to see. I'd rather be somewhere a bit more intimate.
You go to the Saturday market and catch someone playing there.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm playing there on 420.
Nice.
2 p.m. Yeah, it's gonna be a sweet gig. I saw that you're in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
When did that start in Portland?
Yeah, we've been together about 4 years.
Nice.
And we're engaged, so we're hoping to get married. We're not in any crazy rush, but we'll get there. I guess last year got taken up with the tiny house, but and it's because of Martha that the whole tiny house really got going. Because when I was single, I wasn't really going for walks around on my own in the neighborhood, and then she kept me going when initially that first quote came in that was way out of our budget. And, so it's been a real team project getting this done together. We've worked on ideas structurally and design wise, and it's good.
How'd you two end up meeting?
Just online.
Very cool.
Which is kind of the usual way these days, I guess. No one really hangs out in bars doing pickup lines anymore. At least not that I'm aware of so much.
Bars must be losing business,
I guess.
What's like a favorite place, a restaurant around Portland that you like to eat?
Trying to think. There's so many. I guess I go to a lot of bar restaurants. There's a really nice place just down the end of our street called Urdaneta, which is a tapas place, which is amazing. It's kind of a special occasion place. We've been there a few times. And then Authentica is a Mexican place just off Killingsworth.
Okay.
That does kind of more like slightly more fine dining Mexican cuisine. It's really good.
Nice.
Yeah. But I like a lot of bars that do food too. Like our local T.C. O'Leary's Irish pub does great fish and chips. And so I like chicken and food carts, of course, as well.
Very cool.
There's some amazing food carts just in Alberta alone, and there's a really nice hub of if you know, mine's going blank now. Gumbar does a really good pasta.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the new place we just tried a few weeks ago, a Vietnamese place across from them called Marta, which was really good.
Nice.
And then they've also got a French place just in that little square too, which is awesome. So yeah, we're pretty spoiled. In England, food carts are not really admired so much. At least they weren't 10 years ago when I lived there.
Yeah.
And I've had English friends come here and I'm like, hey, yeah, let's go get some food at a food cart. And they kind of look at me a bit weird, like, really? Because in England, it's more like when you go to a festival and you kind of roll the dice as to, you know, how that's going to go down. So yeah, I have to re-educate them that here it's totally different. It's really good food.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. I like the food around here, but I do prefer New York food just because I grew up with that food. Like I want the Chinese food, I want the pizza, and I want the bagels from there. And I just end up making it myself over here. Like I've made pizza the past 3 days in a row, basically. Do you ever have pesto pizza?
Yeah, no, I love pizza.
Yeah.
I mean, New York pizza, there's not much that can beat that. And I think Chinese, well, too. There's some good Chineses here, but it doesn't, a lot of places, it's not as good as, I mean, you get good Chinese down in San Francisco and pizza's New York, you know, and everyone's got their cuisine.
Mm-hmm. Watch any good movies lately?
Trying to think, what did I see? I saw The Green Book, which I thought was really good.
I've not heard of that. What is that about?
It's so The Green Book was a special book for ethnic minorities when they were traveling around, say, the South.
Yeah.
And it was hotels that it was safe for them to stay at.
Okay.
And so there was this musician who wanted to go on a tour in the South. And so The Green Book was kind of his guide and he needed someone to drive him. And it got best, was it the best picture at the Oscars? And yeah, it's a pretty cool movie. I like all kinds of movies. I mean, I can't wait for the new like Avengers movie to come out.
Yeah.
But I like independent movies too. And yeah, just all different. I mean, I saw the Captain Marvel a couple of weeks ago. That was good. I'm actually going to go and see Us tonight. Have you heard about that one?
No, what's that about?
It's the guy that did, what's that other movie? Blackout? No, Get Out. The Get Out movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's another kind of horror movie where, and so that's it's like this family, and then there's these people that are kind of stalking them, and they're complete duplicates of them. So it's supposed to be, I think they have a slight kind of political message in there, but it's also good scares and you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love movies. So I travel a lot, so I catch movies when I'm on the road.
Have you ever done any extreme outdoor sports?
Yeah, I traveled across New Zealand years ago, and I did something called whitewater sledging, which was pretty crazy. Nice. And it, like, I saw this brochure, and it was people just laughing and splashing around. So I thought, hey, I'll give that a go. And basically, you get this boogie board, and then you go down these rapids that you would normally go down in like a raft.
Yeah.
And it was pretty crazy. I got pulled under the water, and luckily you have a helmet on, and I was literally under the water for like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Fresh water, but still bobbing around, and then eventually I got sucked up again. But it was something that I wouldn't do again, but I could look back and say I survived it.
Yeah.
But, and I've done, I've done abseiling, and I've done parachute. I've jumped out on a plane in a parachute.
Did you say skiing is the most dangerous of like the outdoor recreational sports? Seems like people are always getting injured doing that.
I skied back in college.
Yeah.
But I haven't really skied.
Appropriate age.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
I've been following one of my friend's older brothers on Facebook, and I just like saw that he injured himself skiing. He's like in his 40s or 50s. So I'm like, I'm not doing that right now.
Yeah, I've heard some stories, and I know people love to ski. I'm not going to knock it, but I don't think I have that no fear attitude anymore. And it's just like I've had some back issues over the years, so I'm just like,
It's not worth it.
That's not worth the risk. But
Yeah,
you know, each to their own.
to me, it's just like you're getting a day of fun and a lifetime of pain. Not worth it.
Yeah, when you really get speed going.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like anything, if you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
then you know. But there's always that element of the unknown. So yeah, I don't think I'll be taking up skiing anytime soon. But
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, Mount Hood's an hour and a half away, so all power to those that want to make the most of that.
Yeah, just had some guests on that went skiing. More power.
Nice.
What's the funniest thing you've done or had happen while your mind was wandering?
Oh my gosh,
it's a tough one.
Funniest thing, my mind was wandering. I don't know.
What app can you not believe someone has not created yet?
We were just talking about something recently, and we were like, we should make an app for that. And of course, you put me on the spot. My mind goes completely
I know there's
blank.
things that I could think of that I'm just not thinking of right now as well.
It's
like maybe all the gyms should combine and say like, well, you pay a certain amount a month and you could just stop at any gym you want, but they're never going to get together and like join forces.
Yeah, no, that would be a great idea.
Yeah, go to any gym.
I don't know if I'd still end up making excuses not to go.
Yeah,
but I have this, it's not really an app, but I have this aspiration. Like when you go out to dinner with friends and then you're trying to work out who's eating what.
Yeah.
I want there to be a day where you can put your like thumbprint down on some sort of indicator, and then it will read your blood and tell you like, okay, you had this many beers and this food, and then you turn over and you use your fingernail to pay for it. That's my future aspiration, that we can do something and it's totally secure because it's only your thumbprint and you're
encrypted.
Yeah, as opposed, it's kind of scary how much you can do with your phone now and pay for.
Yeah.
And I know last time I was in England, the credit cards now, you can literally tap something and it pays for it. And people were able to walk past you, and if you didn't have the right protection on your wallet or whatever, they could
rob you without even doing anything.
Yeah, without even having to touch it. It's
Amazon stores. You can walk in and basically take anything you want, automatically pay for it. You hear about that?
I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah.
No.
There's stores like that now. Maybe it's the Apple store or something like that. Or I think Amazon has a store. Yeah, you just walk in and somehow you can pay without having to do anything. It's like no checkout or anything. You can just walk out of the store because that's the way the store works. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there'll come a time when you, I don't know, walk into a coffee house and a screen will get a picture shot of you and you'll walk up and they'll already say, oh, hi, Roger, do you want to have your usual? That freaks me out because I don't want that big brother preempting my decision. That's like,
that's what happens in Back to the Future too. Michael Jackson's asking him in the 80s cafe how he wants his coffee or whatever. And it's pretty much what you said. Yeah, but it's 2018, 3 years later with nothing like that yet. So
yeah,
we're safe. What do you think that needs to be modernized? Anything in particular? Maybe the police force should all wear body cams.
Yeah.
I mean, why are they objected to that? They're like, no, I don't really want you to see what we're doing.
That's the thing with there's so many cameras out there. I mean,
yeah, and Europe, there's CCTV everywhere, right? All over England.
Yeah, quite a lot. And I'm actually watching this TV show right now, in Line of Duty. Have you heard about that?
No, actually.
And whenever they're like trying to solve a crime or whatever, it's everything, they can spot where a car's been and like they can see from your cell phone everywhere you've been. And it's great in terms of trying to solve problems, but as you say, it's getting very Big Brother where it's like they say what are those things that you talk into now what's that lady's name when you want to order something and you just ask, is it Siri or something, and you basically say, I want to order this from Amazon, or I want you to play this music.
Alexa,
yeah. And it's like there's rumors and conspiracy theories that Alexa listens to things when you're not speaking to her and
Uh-huh.
takes information. So yeah, those kind of things are a little bit scary. Too much control. Before we know it, we'll have Terminator robots taking over the world.
As far like the CCTV in England, a lot of people are saying when you have cameras around, it looks and it feels safer, but it's not necessarily safer. Like, because then the area is just being remotely protected and it's not necessarily being actually protected.
So they're just taking for granted that they're going to solve the problems. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And like how much percentage of those people on CCTV are actually identified and caught? It's not as much as you think sometimes.
Yeah, I think I'm sure the resolution isn't half as good as on our phones. So yeah, it's
they
just
gotta have
a blurred image.
Data has to be stored, so you can't have the best, bandwidth.
But that's why as well. I mean, they try and I know there's like malls back in England that literally ban hoodies because the kids are getting smart, and so they know what to wear so that if there are cameras that they won't be able to identify them.
Yeah. When was the last time you got more than 9 hours of sleep?
When I was like 14. I'm
doing 4 or 5 hours now at this point. I'll take naps sometime in the middle of the day to make up for it. But yeah, I'm just doing weird hours right now. Like I'll be up at 2 a.m. and then I'll go back to sleep after a few hours.
My body will not really allow me to get more than 8 hours sleep. It just wakes me up. And if I can get 8, that's a good night. It's normally it's like 6 to 7 at best.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't go to bed too early. If I try and go to bed early, like say 9 o'clock, I'm gonna wake up at 4:30. My body's gonna be like, okay, you're done. There's never gonna be, you go to bed early and then you get that complete sleep through. My body just won't allow it. So but I hear you. If I can get a little afternoon nap in on the weekend or something, that as long as it's a nap and not too long, that can be good.
What's the silliest thing you've seen someone get upset about?
Silliest thing people have got upset about. I don't know. I just just be not let small things get to me, and just it's not worth the hassle. So sometimes people are like, you see someone go in a store and you can just tell by their persona that they're looking. There's nothing you're going to say that's going to make them feel good. And I try and walk away from any situation like that or take a breath and just, you see people just get upset over the smallest things. I can't think of a specific example, but it's just not my vibe. I just try and be relaxed and not let the small things worry me.
Yeah. When's the last time that you had to yell at somebody?
Probably on the phone. I don't know, like trying to, like some help center or something. And it just gets frustrating when you ask them a question and then they can't answer any question. They have to go look at this screen with all the answers, and it just frustrates me when there's no use of common sense. There's no actually listening to what you're saying and saying, okay, well, and they're actually having training. I think sometimes when you just know someone's just reading from a book, I don't know if I just get frustrated. I try to keep my cool and not shout at anybody, but I can get a little bit elevated in my tone, shall I say? But I try to, everyone's just trying to do a job. So I try to be as patient, as polite with people as I can.
What are you good at cooking?
I like to make a good shepherd's pie, which was from my English heritage. And sometimes I'll just look at what's in the fridge, or I'll just think of like a dish and then I'll just Google it. I mean, you don't need a cookbook anymore. And then I'll just find the ingredients. I never really pay attention to the quantities. I just look at what's in there and then just throw it together, and it normally works out pretty good. But yeah, I just go online and then just get the ingredients and put it together and see how it comes out. So
What's the grossest thing you had to eat out of politeness?
Out of politeness, I don't know. I mean, I did once eat some meat when I was in the Ivory Coast in Africa with my dad. That was the same family as the rat.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell me beforehand. So that was kind of gross when I found out afterwards. But I don't know if I'm trying to think anything I've eaten out of politeness. I'll try anything. I'm pretty open-minded to trying food.
Yeah.
So there's not many situations where I'm like, I mean, I guess actually it's just kind of weird. Like to drink, I really don't like tea, which is weird because most English people drink tea.
Yeah, with milk.
And I remember when I was a kid, and somebody said it was at a wake after a funeral.
Yeah.
And someone had served me tea, and I was like, "This is not a good time to be. I don't like tea." So I ended up drinking it, and it was kind of gross. But
it's
I was
associated
like,
with that moment.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I didn't like tea before that.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, I just gotta drink this and be polite because there's more important things going on right now.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I if food is really like meat that's like really rare, that's not really my taste. So I guess probably there's been occasions in a nice restaurant where it'd be kind of insulting to ask for it to be cooked more. So I've maybe politely eaten something that's a bit too rare for my taste.
Read any good books lately?
I'm actually just started reading a Michael Caine biography.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got Eric Idle as well, one of the Monty Pythons. I've got that to read.
Nice.
So I at the moment I'm kind of reading biographies, and but yeah, I'm kind of addicted to podcasts, so that takes up most of my time.
Yeah. What are some podcasts you've been listening to?
I like Mark Maron.
Yeah.
He's really good. And I'm a big movie fan, so I follow some English movie podcasts. There's one called Empire Magazine.
Okay.
And there's another one which is Simon Mayo and Mark Kermode. And I like listening to them because they're very English and they say expressions and sort of turns of phrases that remind me of home.
Yeah,
so
I like listening to New York accent podcasts, like Ari Shafir. He's got that New York accent. I don't know why. I just like that dialect.
Just nostalgic to.
Yeah, and there's also a guy called Moriarty. He's from Long Island, where I'm from, basically. So for whatever reason, I like his voice.
Yeah, I know. It's like I don't miss England, but it's just nice to have things that were familiar and remind you of what you did, where you stayed most of your life. So, and I've always loved movies. So yeah, it's just fun to hear. They'll reference dumb music from the 80s that would never have been a hit here, but you remember those silly songs and stuff. So yeah, it's cool. That's probably, I listen to more podcasts than I read so much these days, but like a lot of people, I guess I always aspire to read more, but don't get around to it.
Is there any trends you're tired of right now?
I don't like, I guess, people walking down the street holding their phone in front of them and talking to it.
Yeah.
Why they can't just put it to their ear? That kind of it's kind of a weird thing for me.
When someone's on the plane and they talk out loud, super loud, you're like, there's people here and everyone's staring at them and they just don't care. They're just in their own head and they want to look important, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's almost like, when it happens, that person, it's almost like they want you to hear. Yeah. They're even louder than if they were just talking to someone face to face.
Yeah.
The other thing that was a recent trend were those scooters.
Yeah, the scooters coming back in April, possibly.
They're coming back, yeah. And just people, I think that I read an article. I think they are going to put a few more regulations on them.
Yeah.
But they were just zipping around everywhere and just did not seem very safe and well regulated. And people were coming out onto the, like when you're trying to drive or something, or even you're trying to walk down the street, they would just suddenly appear and you have to dodge them. I was in Italy about 6 years ago, and it was like that with mopeds. They were just no care for anyone else, just all out for themselves. And I saw these scooters and it was just like someone walking over my grave. I'm like, this doesn't look good, but I guess they're coming back again. So I've heard like in San Francisco, they were literally, people were throwing them into the water. They really did not like them. So
that's what I heard.
The city kicked back. I'm not condoning that in any way, but it'll be interesting to see what happens, whether people put up with them in the long term.
Yeah, I think there's some annoying aspects. I mean, there's a whole charging scene going on too, actually. And I heard that they pay you $20 per scooter to charge them. And I heard people were fighting over to get these charging scooters, like, you got to rush to the next scooter to pick it up before the next guy gets, so you can get your $20 to charge the scooter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll see. I'm hoping it's a novelty that just fades away. But we'll see what happens.
A lot of people taking them to the Portland Saturday Market, from what I remember last time.
You just see them like dumped up by the side of your house, and then somebody at nighttime would come pick them up. It was, I don't know. There just needs to be a slightly more organized at the very least.
Yeah. You guys think you get Jeff Goldblum to stay at the house?
We would love Jeff Goldblum to stay in the house.
Gotta tweet it at him.
He's just, we've tried to hashtag him a few times, but he's got so many followers.
Yeah.
And so as his wife has,
it's great.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the challenges is we do really well off the Airbnb, but it's like trying to tap into like, I don't know, casting places or something where people are coming here to do a movie or something. And I don't know. I know when I'm travel, I would rather stay somewhere that feels like a small home than just being stuck in a hotel room night after night. Yeah. But it's just, we need to refocus on that and get some more Jeff things going on and try and grab his attention. But never say never.
Yeah. The lady I had on yesterday, she does catering for movies, and so she met some people from Portlandia and things that way. But I don't know how you could get into that scene. That would be cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm always trying to think of new ways to like.
They could shoot around the tiny old house.
Yeah,
use it as a shooting location.
Yeah, completely.
That would be great.
So I mean, that's why I did this little mascot thing. I'm getting quite a lot of people that are getting into it. So I'm just hoping he'll become so famous that people will want to get a photo with him.
Is there anything legal now that you can think of that won't be in 25 years?
Something that's legal now that won't be legal?
It's usually the other way around.
Yeah, it's doing the other way around where we just become a bit more open about things.
I think like maybe you'll be required to say yes on a consent app before engaging in any kind of sexual activity in the future. Like that will be illegal because things that no one will be able to know. Who knows? I heard there was a consent app just yesterday. That's the first I ever heard of that.
Consent app.
Maybe it was a joke or something.
Yeah, because like that would be kind of weird. Because if you say you consented and then you suddenly like the person you with, you can't, wait a minute, I've changed my mind here. The real them's coming out. And they're like, well, actually, no, I'll take you to court. And you've already clicked, you always swiped left on that option.
When you consented, that pretty much made it intimidating to me that you really wanted to have sex with me. And I felt threatened. Like, you could turn it around. And
that whole idea is, I mean, maybe there's a good intention there but I just feel like people should be able to work out from someone saying yes or no, or it being an appropriate situation, and that if a person isn't in a like too drunk or something, that we don't need a swipe left and right to be decent human beings with each other and know what's good and bad and what's acceptable and what someone's willing to do or not. Do
you think cyberbullying could be illegal in 25 years?
That I would love. It's kind of sad, cyberbullying, and just how much the younger generation is just doing something on their phone.
Yeah, because when you're on Twitter and you notice that you get noticed when you rail against one particular celebrity and it's getting attention, so they just keep doing it, which is terrible.
No, it's just the fact that somebody can record, like, I don't know, they're like bullying someone and they video them being beaten up and then suddenly send it out or shame someone over some photo they've got.
Or you're defending someone else on social media. they'll screenshot it and use it against you, and all you're doing was supporting someone. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's definitely something that I think should become illegal. And all of these ways that the internet's being controlled from other countries, or there's this whole kind of, the freedom of the internet is kind of getting out of hand.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think some sort of control. I mean, they're slowly trying to work on it, but yeah, that's something that definitely needs to be improved.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks so much for coming in today.
Hey, no worries. It's been a pleasure. Thanks
Yeah.
for inviting me down.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
Okay.